Hello. Hello, everybody. I am going to hover here for a moment and make sure everything is working because I was just having some issues with Twitch, and it's sorted. Yeah, excellent. I was using my streaming setup for another purpose. I did a cabaret with my wife on Facebook Live and messed up my stream keys in the process. Anyway, hello and welcome to Once Upon a Die. Thank you for joining me this evening. And this evening we are going to be playing a rather fantastic game that I came across a while ago. I've known it existed for quite some time, and it was a while before I could actually get my hands on a copy, and I'm very glad to say that I finally did. That game is Coffee Roaster, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's all about roasting coffee. The box, if you happen not to have seen it, just so that you know what we're looking for, is this guy here. This is the Coffee Roaster box. From where I go, going that way. This is the current release of the game in the US and Canada and I presume Europe. You might have seen this game kicking around looking something like this. This game was released looking like that by Saashi and Saashi in Japan in 2015, and it has been available as an import. But of course, with import taxes and prices being what they are, it was extremely expensive and very difficult to get hold of. This version, I still can't get used to pointing at things on camera, knowing where they're going to be. This version was released by Stronghold Games. It was picked up by Stronghold Games and released in December 2019, I believe. And that is the version I'm playing with today. It is also a much more affordable price for those of us who are not going to be anywhere near Japan or Japanese places with a more affordable import. This is much more practical. So this is Coffee Roaster, and Coffee Roaster, as I've said, is about roasting coffee beans and trying to create the perfect coffee. And that's what we're going to be doing this evening. Let me just shrink myself down. There we go. Where am I going to put myself tonight? This works. This is our board setup. I'm just going to straighten that slightly. I've got a slightly zoomed in different setup today than my usual ones. This is what we're going to be playing with, and on top of that, we have this rather fantastic box insert here that allows you to divide all the tokens that you're going to be using by type, which makes it extremely easy to kind of mess around with, because especially if you're playing, I forget what they call it now, you can do like a mini campaign game of 3 roasts in a row. What do they call it? Because I'm going to be doing one of those. You can do single choice, or you can do the roast challenge. And if you do the roast challenge, you do 3 roasts in a row, and if you do single choice, you're just doing a single one. I think I'm going to do both, because this is a very quick game. And so I'm going to do a single roast, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what's going on. And then I will do a roast challenge to kind of show you what that's all about. You know what, I'm going to put myself down here, because that way I can use that space up there to do things. Alright, so what are we looking at? Well, here's our board. First things first, both of these boards are reversible. Not a colossal amount of difference. The key couple of sort of small things up here, you'll notice ×1 ×2 on this side, ×2 ×3. And I think, are there even any other differences? I'm not 100% certain. I don't think there are. I've never played with this side of the board. You can tell by the single weight or tamper symbol down here. That is the simplified version of the game. I play with the standard version of the game. Similarly, this board can also be flipped. And you'll notice things like there are additional slots. There's 4 and 3 slots over there, where there are 3 and 2 slots on this side, which will come to make some sort of sense. And anyway, we're going to play with the standard version of the game, just because that's what I'm used to. And what we're going to be doing is, this is what's called a bag building game, or it's a pool building game, but specifically we're going to be building the contents of this bag. And what you'll do is you'll put, throughout the course of the game, you take tokens, you place them in the bag, and then you'll draw a certain number and affect them based upon the turn that you're playing. Eventually, when you decide you have roasted your beans enough, you're going to try and pour the perfect cup of coffee, and you will do that by placing these guys in here, and when all 10 of the oval spaces have been filled up, that is your cup of coffee. And you're trying to hit certain goals based upon the roast that you are brewing at the time. That's the rough outline of what goes on in this game. There are also a variety of sort of special effect tokens that you can play with. I don't know why I'm putting the bag over there. I will need that shortly. And I'm basically going to go very, very briefly through what each of these looks like. So we have our beans from 0 to 4. Those are our coffee beans. They're worth that value, and you're going to be trying to create a certain value in order to perfectly make your cup of coffee. There are also, let me get the terminology right here, and I just don't really think about what they're specifically called. These are hard beans. Hard beans are not yet ready to do something. You have to roast them to turn them into worthless beans, essentially 0 beans, and then you try and bulk them up from there. We also have these burned beans. This is what happens if you accidentally roast a bean at too high a level. You burn it. Don't know if you've ever had burned espresso. It's a bad thing. It does not taste good at all. Defective beans. These just won't do a thing. We also have smoke, and that's if you've managed to get smoke into the flavour of the bean, I guess. And moisture, which is simple moisture, and that really just serves to gum up what you're doing. It goes away the moment you bring it out and just gets in the way. There are also 3 flavour types. There is the red type, which is body. There is the green, which is acidity. And there is the blue, which is aroma. And your coffee may need some combination of those. What does a coffee look like? Well, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked. This is a coffee. This is coffee number 1, which you can see down here, just in the bottom left-hand corner. This coffee is going to be perfect if we brew it to level 14. You'll see there 10 star, 10 points for brewing to level 14. And ideally, it wants 1 acidity and 2 aroma to be in that mix. That means that when I have these 10 spaces filled up, I need to try and fill them with enough beans to get to a value of 14, with space for 1 green and 2 blue. And that will make the perfect Sao Paulo, Brazil coffee. What's really cool is on the back of each one of these, there is some detail about coffee. I haven't read a lot of that, but I may well do so today. This is a beginner difficulty. There are expert and moderate and expert cards. I haven't played an expert card yet. And the other information this gives you here is what tokens are going to start in your bag. So it's going to start with 3 hard beans that can become more stuff, 13 level 0 beans that are worthless but become better, 3 moisture beans that or moisture tokens that you'll just throw out when you get them, 1 defective bean, which is fine, that's not that bad, 2 body, 2 acidity, and 3 aroma. And that's what's going to start in your bag. So you start with a total of 27 tokens, and you need to try and kind of boost the bag up until you think you're going to get 14, a level 14 brew when you come to brew. It also says that, and this is described here, but it's mentioned here too, if you have 3 moisture in the bag, that is the temperature that you are going to start the game at. Do I mean temperature? Yes, because that's the thermostat. Every turn you will draw, this will increase, and you will draw a number of tokens from the bag equal to the number. So right here I will draw on my first turn 8 tokens. The next round this will move up and I'll draw 9. And then you manipulate them. You can do that in a number of ways. But ultimately, any beans from 0 to 3 that you draw and you don't do anything else with, you just put them back in the bag, they go back in the bag increased 1 level because you have roasted them. So a 1 goes back in as a 2, a 3 goes back in as a 4. A hard bean, which if you remember are these guys, go back in as a 0. And now they're going to be useful. If they end the round as a hard bean and you put them in your cup of coffee, they're negative 1 point. That's what this cross means. A 4, if you roast a 4, you get a burned bean because you've gone too far. So you have to try and find ways of mitigating what you're doing. When you get to 10 and 12, you put smoke into the bag. Smoke is bad, it does absolutely nothing, and you'll notice the red X, it is worth 1 negative point at the end of the round. Or 1 negative value, I guess, for your coffee. No, I do mean negative points. But it is worthless to your coffee if you put it into the cup. That's what these trays are for. At the end, you'll come to see when we come to actually brew the coffee, you will throw things into the tray if you don't want them in your coffee. Also, on 10 and 12, that's when the oven is super hot, and you will roast the beans up 2 levels, which means a 3 will burn. And a hard bean, well, hard bean still becomes a 0, but a 0 would become a 2, a 1 would become a 3, a 3 would become a 2 would become a 4, excuse me. You don't do anything to the flavors, the red, green, and blue, but you can do stuff with them. The first thing you can do, you can use a red to turn 2 beans into 1 bean of equal to the value of the sum. So if I take a 1 and a 2, it will become a 3. But it reduces the number of tokens in my bag, which means I'm more likely to pull out that 3 when I come to draw for the cup at the end of the round. Similarly, the blue bean, the blue aroma will take 1 bean and split it. So I could take a 4 and turn it into a 1 and a 3, or 2 2s. It always splits into 2 beans. The acidity lets you preserve a bean. Let's say I've got a 4, no, let's say I've got a 3 out on one of the smoking rounds, and I don't want that 3 to burn. I can use the green to put it back into the bag untouched. And I can do that at any point. But obviously it's particularly useful when you're about to burn beans. That's your means of preserving them. There is also a wild that you can use for anything, and that counts out here as well. It would count for any colour of my choosing. And you'll notice on this board there are all these different spaces. Well, here's how we finish setting this thing up. Here I can put a 0 and a 1 out onto this board to earn the wild flavour. I don't get it until that point. These are powers. I'm going to play through the single roast in just a second, and you'll sort of see how this works. But briefly, this one lets me take... you take 2 additional tokens out for that round. So if I've drawn 8, I would draw 10 for this round. This one lets you pick 2 tokens you have already drawn, put them back in the bag, and then draw 2 new tokens. Theoretically, you could draw the same 2 again. But this allows you to turn things out a little bit, and it's another way of ditching something that's about to burn, for example. This one lets you draw 5 tokens, and these images are very small. I'm hoping they'll show up well on the big screen. But this one lets you draw 5 beans from the bag, put 3 of them back into the bag again, and you throw away 2, which is great if your bag is full of smoke and burned beans and garbage that you don't want. You cannot do this if there are fewer than 5 beans in the bag. You have to be able to draw 4. This one is brilliant. This is really good if you have a really stinky bag full of garbage beans that you don't want. You put 1 token here and you throw away all smoke, all burned beans, and all defective beans that are on the table at the moment. You've drawn them out of the bag for that round. You can ditch the whole lot, which is fabulous. Once you've placed something on one of these, however, so let's say I use a green to activate that, that space is filled. I can't use it again, so you can only use each of these once per round. What are these, I hear you ask? Well, this one obviously requires a blue and a red. This one requires a blue and something. Red and something, green and something, green and something. Makes sense, but what are they? Well, they are these 5 tokens. And we're actually going to shuffle them up and place them onto the board. So I'm just going to do this, and I'm not going to look. And I'm going to bring these out. So, this guy is amazingly valuable. When you... if I just go and brew a cup of coffee right now, I have 3 spaces in the tray to ditch beans I don't want. If I earn this token, I put it down here, and now I get these extra 2 spaces. But I have to get that token in order to do it. Notice that costs me a blue and a red I'm never going to get back. Which means I need to also think about what I need. Here I need 2 blues and a green. Which means if there's only 2 blues in... Well, I don't think there ever would be. But there's only 3 blues. Which means if I use a blue here, for example, to draw 5 beans, put 3 back and throw 2 away, I don't have a blue to use here unless I also earn the wild card. So you have to think about what you're trying to achieve. This guy here, if I get that, it goes down here. Once I have fully drawn my brew, I can put 2 beans back in the bag, then draw 3 and put 2 of them back into the cup. So I get to flip out what's there a little bit. This one is very simple. It's a level 3 bean. It's an extra level 3. So if I'm going for a very high score, or I want to bail out early on roasting beans further, so let's say that my bag contains an average of, I don't know, 8. 14 is possible, but it's going to be tight. I can put the 3 out here, and it uses up one of the 10 bean slots. Note that this one doesn't, and obviously this guy doesn't as well. This one's great. This goes here. These 2 spaces, if I have this active, I draw 2 beans for each space, and I pick which one goes in, and I put the other one back in the bag. And finally, this guy here goes up here, and it will count as any flavour boost of my choice. So that's another way of mitigating if I'm using more stuff down here. Except I have to use other things to pay for it. Such as is. We're going to do a very simple single roast, and then I'm going to do the roast challenge to actually play up the game. So I'm going to do Brazil, the Sao Paulo roast up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare my bag, and I'll do this as much as I can in view. So I need to take 13 level 0 beans. So I'm just going to count those out quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, whoops, 11, 12, 13. I want 3 hard beans. 1, 2, 3. I want 3 moisture. 1, 2, 3. I want a defective bean. I want 2 body. I want 2 acidity. And I want 3 aroma. There we go. That's my 27 tokens. They just get dumped bodily into the bag. See? Bodily. See what I did there? Sorry, it's bad pun night. No, it's not. I'm going to avoid the bad puns as much as I can. Okay, so we have our bag prepared. We have this on space 8, which is for 3 moisture. And this, right now my bag is worth 0. I have nothing in this bag that is worth value to my coffee. What I can do with this, if I choose, you don't have to, is I can track what my bag is at. And that will make sense in just a second. So, let's have a go. We're going to start. This is round 1. I'm going to draw 8 things from the bag. Ah, I see the problem. I'm going to have to do it like this, because if I hold this up to the camera so you can see I'm drawing from the bag, I can see what's in the bag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so here's what I've drawn. Okay, No, I'm going to move this. This can go over here now. Where's it going to go? There we go. That's what I'm trying to make. And this is going to be my space to work out what I'm doing. So here's what I've got to play with this round. Moisture, whenever moisture comes up, whether it's now or when you're brewing a coffee, if it's still in the bag, you just toss it. That just wasted some time for me. The 3 zeros. I'm going to want to do... I haven't got much. I've got 7 flavour tokens in the bag. I need 3 of them, and red is the only colour I can afford to be particularly, you know, not thrifty with. So I'm going to place a 0 here to work towards getting the wild flavour tile. I can't place a 1. There isn't one in the bag yet. But this hard bean is going to go back in the box and come back out as a 0, and that goes into the bag. I'm not doing anything else for this round instantly. You would place... am I? No, maybe I am. I'm going to work towards getting this tray. Because I do want the tray. So in fact, I'm just going to take... No, I'm going to take this. I'm not going to take the tray this round. I'm going to take this guy. So I just get that right away. That goes down here. You can see the space is printed to look like what goes there. The green I'm going to keep. And these 2 zeros go back in the box, and they come back as 1s. So 2 1s have now gone into my bag, which means my bag has a value of 2. And I haven't done anything with a red body to turn 2 beans into 1 bean, which means of my 27 beans, 3 of them are now out here, which means I have 24 beans left in the bag, or 24 tokens left in the bag, and a value of 2 in the bag. That's my round done. Everything's back in the bag, so I'm going to move along to the next round, and now I'm drawing 9 tokens from the bag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. This time I'm going to talk through the turn a little bit more. So the first thing I did was I increased the temperature. Done. I've drawn my tokens from the cloth bag. That's the next thing. Now I remove the moisture. So there we go. Away it goes. Now I use tokens for effects. That is to say, I do anything on the board that is going to be an effect. So what I am going to do first of all is I'm going to put this one right here. And I claim the wild flavour token, and it goes into the bag. I still have to draw that. I might not when I come to brew my coffee, but I do need to draw that. So that's done. I can't use this because I can't split a 1, because I can't put a 1 into 2 tokens. So this is going back in the bag. So is my green. I need to save those because those are the colours I actually want in this coffee. The 1 is going to go away and become a 2, which goes into the bag. And the 4 zeros are going to go away and become 4 1s, which are going to go into the bag. Which means 5 tokens just went up, which means I'm now up to 7 in the bag. Total. Am I right about... What did I just do? Did I just put a 2 in the bag? I hope I just put a 2 in the bag. Yes, I did. For a minute there, I thought I put a hard bean to a 0 and put it back. That's useless. Okay, so I have a value of 7, and I'm going for 14. Kind of useless right now, so on we go. We go up to round 10. Now, what I should have done, actually, I didn't do this. In terms of preparing for this, you should put the smoke tokens that you're going to add onto the board. And that way you know, when you land on that space, like now, I take these 2 off and I put them into the bag. So smoke is now getting into my coffee. That's a bad thing. You don't want it. When I land here, I will add 3 smoke. And I'm going to draw 10 tokens. Shake up the bag a little bit. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here we go. 10 tokens. Now remember, everything is going to roast double because the oven is hot, but hard beans don't. Hard beans still only become a 0. They can't roast double. They don't become 1s. So I realize again, I stopped halfway through the round talking about what I was doing. I raised the temperature, I drew the tokens, I removed moisture, although in this case there wasn't any. Now I use immediate effects. Immediate effects are things like placing these guys down. And then you use flavour effects, which is things like turning 2 beans into 1 bean. Do I want to do that right now? These 1s are all going to become 3s. If I use this right now, I could instead turn a 1 into 2 1s into a 2, which is going to significantly lower the value of what goes back into the bag in a second. But I don't think I actually want to do that right now. I think what I'm going to do instead is just let this one go by. I've taken out a blue, and I need the other 2. I haven't taken out a green yet. These are the 2 greens. There's only 2 in the bag. I could use one to do something, and I could use this red. So I could take maybe this guy, or the sweet... Maybe I'll take the sweetness. I'm going to take the sweetness with these 2. And that now counts as... That goes up here on this space. I now only have 9 spaces to draw out coffee beans, but I don't need to draw one of the 3 flavours. Which also opens up, theoretically, I could use another blue if I wanted to. I've used both of the reds that are in there, and I do still have the wild if I can get to it. So those are my immediate effects. Am I going to use a flavour effect? I can't turn 1 bean into 2, and I don't want to retain any. So they're going to go back in the bag. The 2 hard beans go away. They become 0s because we're doubling... they become 0s anyway. But because we're doubling, this 0 goes away and becomes a 2, which means my value has gone up by 2. And these 3 1s all go away and become 3s. So I get 3 3s into the bag, and my value has now gone up by another 6, which means my bag now contains a value of 15, which is more than I need for this coffee. But I have to make 14, ideally, out of 9 now coffee beans. That's going to be challenging with what's there. So I think I'm going to go another round. So we go on to round 11. Yeah, 11, or not round 11, sorry. Well, we go on to temperature 11, so I draw out 11 things from the bag. 1, 2, oh, this is bad. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, everything's going to go up by 1. Moisture goes away. Now, here's where I have a decision to make. Because what I could choose to do, and I may just do this, this is a push your luck game, in case you hadn't gathered. But it's also... What's the opposite of push your luck? Pull your luck? You want to keep pushing your luck in the sense that you need to increase the contents of the bag to a value that's going to allow you to do what you're trying to do. But you also don't want to stop too early, because then you're kind of not even pushing your luck. You're hoping that you're going to draw out what you need to actually make this work. Interesting. One thing I could do if I wanted to is I could use this green. I'm now relying on the sweetness to be a green if I do that. But if I use this, I could put exactly 2 beans back in the bag. It has to be 2. So I could maybe take these 2 3s and put them back. Alternatively, I could use it down here to garbage the 2 smokes. And if I do that, they're not coming out. And if I stop at the end of this round, which I'm considering doing, I have 0 smoke in my bag. Which means I'm not going to draw it, and I'm not going to need to worry about the fact that I don't have the additional tray. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put this down here. I can take all the smoke, all the defective beans, and all the burned beans that I have in on the table right now from this pile, and throw them out of the game. So these 2 smokes, gone. Now, I'm going to let everything go up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beans. So we're going to go up by 7, because we're only going up by 1. So we go to 22. The 3 3s become 3 4s and go into the bag. The 4 0s go away and become 4 1s, and they go into the bag. And that's the end of the round. So I'm at 22, and I want 14 with a green-blue-blue combination. At this point in time, and this may be... I have not played this game enough to find a decent strategy for this, but at this point in time, I am going to choose to go on to... I'm going to cancel the roasting process. We're not roasting beans anymore. We're going to cup test. And the cup testing phase is when you pour out this cup of coffee and you hope for the best. So let's see what happens. What we do now is we keep drawing until this is full up, which is going to take 9 total tokens. And I have 3 spaces over here that I can ditch something I don't want. So, here we go. First bean is going to be blue. That's excellent. I need that. And that goes over here. There is no... I haven't got this 3, so this is a valid placement space. However, I do have sweetness. So this is not a space, so the next one goes here. 0. Too early. I'm actually going to take that out. I probably have quite a lot of 0s in here because I'm worried I may have underdone this coffee quite significantly, but we'll see. 4. Okay. Now I need 10 more. If I hit 14 and I still have 3 spaces to go, I have to fill those 3 spaces. So that's why I'm saying you don't want to go too far, but you do need to go far enough, if that makes sense. 0. I'm actually going to put that into my... Oh, hang on. Sorry. No, I didn't get it. Yeah, I'm going to put that into my coffee. I'm trying to do this up here so that you can see I'm just drawing 0. Now I'm getting a little concerned. I have a defective bean in that bag. I don't have a burned bean, but I do have a defective bean. So I want to keep this separate. I think I have 3 4s. If I draw those as my next 3 beans, I'm in serious trouble. Now, I'm going to get to toss 2 of them back. So, you know what? I'm actually going to put that there. Because the defective bean is the only bean in here. Did I get all 3 hard beans? I think I got all 3 hard beans. So the defective bean is the only token in here that is worth negative points. 1. I am value 5. 1. Value 6. Alright, so I need to get 8 more in 4 tokens, ideally with a green. There's my defective bean. That is absolutely not going in. 4. I have a value of 10. This is getting tight. Multi-flavour bean. That's excellent. Also, note, if for some reason these two came out as flavour tokens, say, I'm actually not going to score any points because 10 isn't on the score sheet. Similarly, if I got up to 19, I also wouldn't score any points because that isn't on the score sheet either. I have to score between 11 and 18 to score points, and 14 is my sweet spot. See what we're going to get. Bam! 2. 12. Excellent. I've got 4 points now. Ideally, I'd love another 2. I don't know if I have one in here, actually. 1. 13. 6 points. I have now filled up all 10 slots, but I still have this guy to use. I can pick 2, and it must be exactly 2, of the things that are on here, put them back in the bag, draw 3, and place 2 of them. And this gets tight, because if I draw that 4, I'm going to take 4, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, I'm on 13. I'm going to take... I don't have any 3s left, do I? All my 3s became 4s. I'm going to take the 2 and a 1. I think. My bag is worth 22, currently. On here is 13. Which means left in my bag is 9. If I put 3 back in, left in the bag is 12. And I would need to get 4 of that out in... Yeah, that's what I'm going to try and do. So I put 2 back into the bag. Oops. I'm going to draw 3. Alright, moment of truth. Damn. Okay, I'm not going to make it. I have to place 2 of them. I have to do that. I don't have a choice. 13 is my final score. So, 13 is my final value, sorry. So that gets me 6 points. In addition to that, and I can never remember these ratios, so pardon me while I refer to the rulebook. In addition to that, so roast points, I got 6. Flavour points, if 1 flavour matches, I get 1. For 2, I get 3. For 3, I get 6. I've got 3 matching flavour, because I have the blue, the wild, which let's say that's the other blue, and the sweetness, which is the green. That gets me 6 points, so I'm now at 12. Skill points, I get bonus points for having 3 or more tokens in the cup of the same value. I have 3 ones, which gets me an additional 1 skill point. 4 would get me 2, 5 would get me 3, 6 would get me 4, and so on. Oh, 7 and more get me 5, actually. That's as far as you go. So I get an extra 1. So I just scored 13 points, and I have no minus points. I filled up the... I filled up the cup. That's minus 5 if you don't fill that space, because you've got too few things in your bag. And I have no negative points anywhere, because the defective bean doesn't get me that. So 13 points is my final score. Not great, but not terrible. That's how you play the game. I'm now going to do a roast challenge. To do a roast challenge, you brew 3 cups of coffee in a row. You reset the game completely between each one. So I'm going to take that 2 smoke that I put away, and I'm going to put it back here. And the way that it works is, the score that you get at the end of each coffee tells you how much further you can advance with the next cup of coffee. So I can't go from beginner to moderate unless I score a certain number of points. I'm going to take all of this stuff and put it back. And this is where having this lovely divided box tray is great, because I can just take all the zeros, throw them back in here, and know they're going to be where I need them when I come to restock for the next coffee. The wild goes back here, and these get reshuffled. Defective bean goes away, and drawn out again differently. Oops. So, 3 coffees in a row for a roast challenge. And the nice thing is this game just plays so quickly, this doesn't take particularly long, which is nice. So, some similarity. That tray is down there. Okay. Board has been reset. Let's choose our first coffee. It needs to be a beginner level coffee. I'll just remind myself of the rules for the roast challenge. Roast level 1, which is light brown. You'll see there's roast level 1, roast level 2, and roast level 3. 3s are obviously harder, and in addition, there's beginner, there's moderate, which is this red, and there's expert, and I don't even want to think what kind of a challenge that is going to be. I should swing over and say hello to the chat, because I've been kind of ignoring you guys. My apologies. Wow, I'm coming across blurry. Are you guys able to see anything that's going on? Or am I coming across as blurry as I look? Because my Twitch stream is showing me as astonishingly blurry right now. I don't know if there's internet issues. I hope you can see me better than this. You can see things fine. Okay, my preview of my Twitch stream shows me looking like you're looking at me through a thing of frosted glass. I'm glad. Trouble and Jen both say you can see me. Excellent, I'm glad to hear it. Okay, so we are going to start with a... Oh, let me go back to my OBS so I can see what I'm doing. A Panamanian coffee called Bugaba. And it says on the back here, bright and light rarities. In Panama, coffee is mainly cultivated by 2 indigenous groups, the Ngobe and the Bugle. Besides espresso and medium roasts, there are also light brown and thus very mild roasts that are very hard to get in Europe. The effort alone of separating the top quality beans from the unripe ones makes them a scarce commodity. Their taste is accordingly unusual. Some people compare it to the taste of black tea. Despite its mildness, the coffee has a refreshing and rich aroma that would get lost if the beans were roasted for too long. It is an easy play for beginners to roast the beans evenly. So, not only does it give you some history about the coffee, which is really cool that they know so much about coffee, and I should add, there's also a double-sided sheet here about how coffee is made, which is kind of awesome. But they also give you a little hint as to how to play that. Oops, I need to empty the bag. As to how to play the game effectively. If you happen to see me at the end of one of these rounds refill the bag without emptying it first, please let me know, because the first time I played a roast challenge, I had way too many tokens in the bag because I hadn't emptied it. So we need 15 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We need 2 hard beans. We need 2 moisture. We need 2 defective beans. We need 1 body. We need 2 acidity. And we need 3 aroma for a total of, once again, 27 tokens. Jen says it's a game and a history informational guide on coffee all at the same time. It is. And I have to say, as someone who, if you haven't seen my podcast, by the way, or listened to my podcast, I guess, I do a podcast called Once Upon a Die, which is where I got this name from, obviously. At the end of each episode, I do a related fact of the episode, where I talk about some random fact associated with whatever it is I'm doing. I love games like this that include facts about, you know, what it is that you're dealing with, because it makes my job easier. But it's also, I love, you know, the fact that I do those related facts of the episode is an insight into what goes on in my head, which is I love understanding more about the world I'm playing. Incidentally, if you haven't listened to the podcast, please go and do so. You can download it on iTunes or Overcast or whatever podcast provider you like, and it's Once Upon a Die, and please do have a listen. You can see all of my social medias and things like that down here on this scroller. My Instagram right there, Once Upon a Die Podcast. I'm Upon a Die Podcast on Twitter, because I wasn't thinking ahead, I think. I don't remember, I created that a while ago. You'll also notice up in that far corner over there my link tree, which has links to everything. I also have a Patreon. If you would feel so inclined and you would like to become a member of the Once Upon a Die community, please head over to my Patreon, patreon.com/OnceUponADie, and I would love to have your support there. If you're not following me on Twitch and you're watching me on Twitch right now, why not hit the follow button? That would be great, and you'll get to know when I do more of this stuff. Hopefully it's entertaining you. Okay, oh, last thing, there is only 2 moisture in this, so we start here. So, we're going to go. Here comes our roast challenge. 1 Booga Bar coffee coming up. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, my apologies. 9 tokens. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, that makes life... Oh, what do I need? I need red, green, and blue. So I don't want to use a red. I can use 1 green and I can use 2 blue before I get some kind of special thing. Moisture goes away. I can use a green. I do have both of the greens there. I can also start working towards the wild flavour token, which is nice. I am going for a peak roasting of 13 here. I think what I'm going to do... I can't use red, so nothing that requires red is really playable for me in this game if I want to have a decent chance of getting the red, the flavour profile. What I think, therefore, I'm going to do is I'm going to... I'm just going to put a 0 up here, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros go away and become 1s, and this hard bean goes away and becomes a 0. So this little lot is going into my bag, which means my concentration has gone up to 4. And I'm not going to do anything with these 2 greens just yet. I'm going to see what happens first. Okay, on to round 10. Or I keep saying round 10 because there's a 10 there. You know what I mean. The 2 smokes go into the bag. And I'm drawing 10 tokens. Take note of the fact that that card said this is an easy play, and now watch me lose. I'm bad at push-your-luck games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I've got all my blues out this time. Well, that's good news, because I can use both of them if I want to. And everything is double roasting this round. I'm going to put a 1 here, because I don't see the point in committing to this partially and not finishing that off, so I may as well take it. So, flavour into the bag. The hard bean... Oh, well, no, I need to decide what else I'm doing. I have 2 blues. I could use 2 blues right now to get the sweetness. I could also draw 5 things from the bag and throw 2 of them away, but that's only... Well, I do have 2 defective beans and 2 smokes, so I have 4 bad things in the bag, but there are 27 tokens in there right now because I added 2, even though there are 2 out on the board. The chance of me drawing in 5 tokens... 2 of the 4 bad ones? I don't think I'm going to risk it just yet. I think what I'm going to do instead is let all of this double roast. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all going to become 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. At this point, by the way, once you've started roasting beans, technically you're committed to doing just that. I can't use these anymore, so these can go back in the bag too. And the 1 is going to become a 3. So 6 beans, just added 2 to their value, which means this goes up by 12 to 16. And this hard bean, remember, still just becomes a 0. On to 11. So let's see where we go with this. Remember, I'm only going for 13 this time, which is what I hit last time. But I still have a lot of rubbish in here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ah, this is going to suck. 11. Okay. I'm going to use the green straight away over here on the bin to get rid of the defective bean and the smoke. I still have a lot of zeros in this bag, though. I was wondering with the idea of giving out after this round. I'm not going to use this. That's just going to go back into the bag. I think I'm just going to let everything roast. So here's where you can kind of speed things up if you can keep track of it in your head. This 0 is going to become a 1. The 1 is going to become a 2. The 2 is going to become a 3. The 3 is going to become a 4. So that 0 just basically turned itself into a 4. I'm not very good at keeping track of that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm actually going to work this out. So 3 zeros go away. I hope I did not just change the numbers that were out by trying to demonstrate that. And I get 3 1s. 2 1s go away to become 2 2s. The 2 goes away to become a 3. The 3 goes away to become a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 increase, which means my bag now contains 23. But still a lot of zeros. Do I give out at this point and risk having a really ropey cup of coffee? Or do I go one more round, except it's going to double roast? and put a crap ton of smoke into my bag. I don't have any special abilities out on the board right now. But I'm only going for 13. You know what? I'm going to just show you guys different strategies. Oh, Trouble says double roast. You reckon? Okay, sure. Why not? Let's double roast. On to round 12. 3 smoke goes into the bag. I cannot bin anything anymore because I've already done it, unless I do a blue. So, 12 things come out, and there is going to be double roasting if I'm not careful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Interesting. I just need to remind myself of one thing with... draw 5 additional and place them separately. Yes. So this one, if I draw 5 out, I can't put any 3 back in. It has to be 3 of the 5 that I just drew. I might just do that, because if I can get the other defective bean or a couple more smokes, that's going to save me a lot of trouble. Alternatively, I could get the sweetness, which, given that I've used a green, I have to draw the red and the green or a wild in order to make that effective. No, I'm going to do this. I want to get the smokes out if I can. So, by doing that, I draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whenever you draw moisture, and I think that counts now. Ah, this is one of the... Normally, so for example, when I was doing this guy at the end, where I put 2 tokens back in the bag, then draw 3 and play 2 of them, if I drew moisture, I would toss it and redraw to make sure I'm still picking from 3. In this case, I don't. This moisture goes away. Sorry, you can't see what I just drew there. I drew this. That moisture goes away, and I don't redraw. So I now have to toss 2 of these. Given the flavor profile of this drink, that stinks, because I think I'm going to have to get rid of these guys. Because I need... Well, I mean, it's a gamble between going for flavor profile and going for... points. I'm going to put these back in the bag. So, I now have to decide what to do with this lot. I can't save anything. I could turn something back into 2 beans. So I could turn a 2 into 2 1s, for example. Which maybe I will do. Although that will up the number of... I'm not going to do anything with these right now. I'm just going to put them back in the bag. The smoke just goes back in the bag, and all of these are going to add 2. So the 0s become 2s. The 1 becomes a 3. And the 4 2s all become 4s. Which means my bag just got much higher. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 2 is an additional 16. So we're now at 39 in the bag, and I'm going for 13 in the cup. I think I may have just overshot, but I'm pretty sure there are still some 0s in here, so this may work out. That may have been a terrible move. Let's see, shall we? Okay, I'm going to... I just want to check one last thing, actually. That's immediate effects. Yes. Yes. Okay, I'm calling that, and we're going to do a cup test. So I get smoke, that's going out. I get a green flavor, I need that. I get a 0. I think I probably need that, actually. I'm going to get the wild flavor, I need that. I'm going to get the 4. Right, so this is where I'm concerned about what's going to start coming out. Blue. Okay, there's my flavor profile complete. Because I can use the wild as a red. There's a 4, so my value is now 8. I need 5 more in 4 tokens. That's a 4. I don't think I'm going to risk that. Because I know I have higher things here. That's a 3. Okay, so that's now 11. I need 2 more in 3. Rats. I'm counting on zeros because I can't ditch. Oh, okay, I'm going to do that. That is now 13. That's what I'm aiming for. That's a smoke. I actually think I'm going to put smoke into my coffee. It's going to lose me a point at the end of the game, but if it gets me closer to that, that might not be a bad move. We'll see. The last one is another smoke. I don't want to go that far. I'm going to do one more. It's a red. Okay, so 4, 4, and 3. That's 13. So, at the end of this round, I'm going to score up. The roast points, I have 13 roast points, so I'm going to score the maximum of 10. I have also matched... this doesn't do anything because it's extra. I have matched the flavour profile, so that's 6, so that's 16 points. Skill point-wise, I don't have anything 3 times or more, so it doesn't do anything. And then minus points, I'm going to get -1. So I'm going to get 15 points. It's worth noting, I also said that's -5 points if you have not covered it. In addition, and you have to go this way, so if any spaces are left, it's worth that. In addition, if there are no flavour tokens at all, it's -3. So, 15. 15 points. I proceed with the difficulty level of Expert. Yikes. Okay, so I'm doing an Expert coffee. I said I'd never done one before. There's no time like the present. Doo-ba-doo-doo-doo. That's going to go in there. That goes back on there. Quick reset. Smoke is going to go back here. And 4 goes back there. These guys go back into there. Empty the bag. 4. Defective. 2. Smoke. Oh, I got rid of the other smoke. There's a smoke. Okay, there's that, there's that, there's a 2 and a 3. Okay, so that's us back. So, I'm going to go for, you go for the next, so I'm going for a level 2 roast, and I'm going for an expert one. I'm going to do the first one out the gate. So I'm doing a Yemen coffee called Damar. According to legend, the founder of an Islamic Sufi order and his disciple discovered the stimulating effect of coffee beans when these were cooked and used them as a remedy against the epidemic at that time. Worryingly appropriate. Nowadays, experts point out that this might have been the Yemeni coffee variety of mocha. The beans are cultivated on small farms, in most cases without any chemicals. This contributes significantly to the development of the typical spicy and slightly sour character of the coffee. However, a lack of upkeep in combination with the large quantity of beans leads to many defective beans, which makes the selection harder for the roaster. Well, that tells me... Oh my lord! Okay, so... Like I said, no time like the present. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 zeros. 9 hard beans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5 moisture, which means I'm starting with 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 defective beans. That's all of them. There aren't any other defective beans in the game. And then 3 body, 4 acidity, 2 acidity, sorry, and 4 aroma. Okay. There's my bag. 38 tokens. I'm going for 18 value in there. And we're starting with 7. Oh, and I just need to reshuffle these. Doop-a-doop-doop-a-doop-doo. Okay. All right, so we've got 3 sweetness, that, and that. Okay, here we go. 7 tokens for the first round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Moisture goes away. 2 defective. Whoa, this is going to be rough. I need green, blue, blue, so I can use my reds as I wish. I'm actually going to use this here to draw 2 new beans. and see... Wow! Oh, I really, really wish I had another flavour that I could just garbage all 4 of those defective beans. But I can't do anything with them. They have to go back in the bag. And these 2 hard beans are going to go away and become zeros. Next round, I'm going to draw 8 tokens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, this is going to be brutal. That's going to go back in the bag. Am I going to place this? I would like I'm going for 18. I feel like this is going to be real tough. I think I might do that. Oh, I've got some comments. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to that. My bad. Yum Smoke. Hey, if it works for ham and beef and such, why not coffee? Again, I say, wait till you've tried a burned espresso if you haven't already. Oh, I guess that's not smoke, though. It's burnt beans. Smoke is a common tasting note in wine and coffee. It's true. It's true. I think this is excess of smoke. But yes. And a common note in tea, too. Yes, I have a particularly good, very, very smoky Lapsang Souchong variant upstairs from Kuzmi tea, which is fantastic. Anyway, sorry, I was dealing with these. So I've done that. I'm just going to let everything roast because I need to start getting my numbers up. So that's going to be 5 ones, and the hard bean is going to become a 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So bag is at 5. 9 tokens. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Moisture goes away, moisture goes away. Okay, so... Oh, it's the same again. Alright, well, I'm going to get rid of 2 of these to become 2 zeros, and then I'm going to get rid of 4 zeros to become 4 ones. And the defective bean is still defective, so we're up to 9, and this is all going back in the bag. Wow, this is rough. Alright, on to 10. 2 smoke goes into the bag. What I would really, really love to have right now is to draw all of the smoke, all of the defective beans on one flavour I can use to tank the lot, but that's just not going to happen. So, 10 tokens, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I didn't get the flavour to kill the... Oh, that's horrible. Okay, well, that lot all just goes back in the bag. My hard bean, as we've already discussed, simply becomes a 0. And these guys are all going to double roast, and there's nothing I can do about it. So, the 3 ones become 3 threes. And the 2 zeros become 2 twos. Oh, I have new people. Billy and Cass, hello! Wahoo indeed. And Jen says Lapsang Souchong. I'm probably butchering the spelling somewhat. So good. Yeah, this one's called Tari Souchong. I got it from Kuzmi a very long time ago, and it's super smoked. It's incredible. So heartily recommended. We just went up by 10. That's frightening. And this lot just goes back into the bag untouched, because there wasn't anything I could do about it. Billy, Cass, have you guys played this? I think no, Billy, you were saying you were interested in it, weren't you? So I think you haven't got there. You've come in halfway through a roast challenge. I think you just joined. So this is our second cup of coffee in a series of 3, and I did a single roast beforehand to kind of teach the game. And we're on a round where I'm going to draw 11 tokens from my bag. And I'm just going to do this like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And this lot is not drawn. Alright, what do we got? All the flavour and not enough stuff. I'm really reticent to use flavour to kill any of this stuff, because I feel like if I go one more round, I could get so much more. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a red to take this. That's going to go there. So I already have a level 3 bean in my coffee. What have I got? I've used a red. I don't need red, so I can use all my red. That's fine. I do need 2 blue, and there are 4. And I need 1... So if I use these 2... I could use these 2 to either add the tray, or to add the option of drawing a couple of these, or to add the sweetness. I'm going to add the tray. So that goes down here, and now I have 5 discard slots. These 3 go back in the bag, because there's nothing I can do with them, and everything else is going to roast by a level. Oh, what I can do is, because of this, in fact, I am going to do this, because I placed this here, these are the cup effects, these 10 spaces. When you have to place something here to use its ability. So I'm going to place that, and I'm actually going to keep this 3 from roasting, because I don't want to, I mean, I'm going to double roast next round anyway, but I don't want that 4 coming out. This guy becomes the 0 becomes a 1, and the 1 becomes a 2, so those guys go into my bag. Alright, on to round 12. I need to do round 12, and this is going to suck at the end of this round. I've probably gone too far. But I've never... I also, guys who just joined, I mentioned this earlier, I've never done an expert level coffee before, and because I did well in my first coffee, my second one is supposed to be expert. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Give me a flavour, give me a red, ideally, 10, 11, 12. Gordon Bennett, this is hard. Okay, so I can't influence this at all, which means I'm going to get burned beans. These 5 guys just go straight back into the bag. This guy becomes a 0, and he goes into the bag. The 1s become 3s. The 2 becomes a 4. And the 2 3s become 5s. Where am I going? 5s. Which isn't possible, which means they burn. So for the first time on this stream, I get 2 burned beans added into my bag, and they are negative 1 point if they are in my coffee at the end of the round. I just went up 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's 8. So this has gone up to 27. Do I go one more? I'm going to go one more round, because I'm really going to hope I can ditch some of this rubbish. So I'm drawing out 13 tokens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You've got to be kidding me. Nothing of any use. What I might just do is I'm going to go 0, 1, and I'm going to bring this guy in the hopes that I get to use him. And there's nothing I can do with that. So the smoke, well, I could garbage it and hope that yeah, I'm actually going to garbage these 2 smokes. It's not much, but I daren't risk going another round. So I'm going to garbage those. This becomes a 0 and goes in the bag. The 2 zeros become 1s. The 1 becomes a 2. And the 4 3s all become 4s. And I've probably woefully overcooked this coffee. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up, which means I'm now at 34. And I'm going to call it. I'm going to cup taste right now. Flying tokens. I'm going to cup test right now. Let's see how we do. This is horrible. I've probably done this so wrong. Let's have a look. So I already have 3, and I'm aiming at 18. Well, that's a good start. All right, we're up to 7. 9. 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, sure. Smoke is going over here. 13 still. Red, I do not need. It will gum up a space, though. I think I'm going to put that in. So I'm going to put some body in the coffee that it doesn't need. I'm still on 13. That's a defective bean. That's not going in. That's 14. I actually like that. I'm going to put that in. 15, 16, 17, 18. No, I'm not going to risk that yet. Let's see what we get. Oh, God. 18. I think I have to risk it. Because if I've got too many defective beans in this bag that I need to put here. Alright, 18. But this goes really quickly off the edge. Nope, I'm not going to risk it. So 14. 0. Still 14. I'm not going to get the flavor profile for this, but 15. So I'm either going to get 5... Yeah, this is probably the best move. 15. Defective bean is going there. Ugh, smoke. Alright, 15. 15 gets me 5 points. I have 1 flavor, which counts as 1 point, I believe. Let me just check that. 1 flavor is 1 point. 1 point. 1 flavor token, you get 1 point. Skill points wise, I don't have anything in there 3 times, so I don't get anything. And I get -1. So that's 5, 6. That's 5 points. Well, that was lame. I should have put one of these 4s in. Then I wouldn't have got the smoke. I would have gone to 19 and I've got 8 points instead. And I'd have ended up on 9. But I got 5. So 15 plus 5 is 20. If I have scored 9 points or less in a round, the next round is a beginner level coffee. So that's what I'm going to do. And this will be the final round of my roasting challenge. And indeed, the final round of this video. I hope you guys are enjoying. This is a slightly chaotic game in some ways, which is really weird given how zen it is. In the sense that you're not kind of attacking people and all that kind of stuff. But it's something about it just feels hectic and nerve-wracking as you're playing. Trouble says, love me a strong cup of coffee. Yup, I'm right with you. Okay, empty the bag. All that still in the bag. Most of it bad, to be fair. I could have got a 4 or a 2 to get better points, but I could have also tanked a lot more than I did. Smoke, smoke, smoke. Those all go out onto the thermostat. Billy Cass, this is probably making very, very little sense to you at this point, for which my apologies, but do please watch back on YouTube after the fact, if you would like to kind of catch up with what's going on. Today's live stream should be titled Once Upon a Diet, An Adventure in Coffee. You're not wrong, Jen. That's kind of what it feels like. Alright, so I'm doing a third level roast, but I'm doing a beginner level, third level roast, so I can do one of these two. I'm going to do, let's do the, oh, these are interesting because they require sweetness. Let's do this one. So, this is a Peruvian coffee called Puno A. It says, in the small producer country of Peru, where besides organic coffee plantations, you can find predominantly alpacas, coffee was cultivated for the first time in the 18th century. In the 19th century, when the consumption of coffee in Europe increased and the production in Indonesia slowed down, the Peruvians started exporting coffee. At first, the assignment of land to Great Britain and the unstable political situation made cultivation difficult. After years of development, the Peruvian coffee of today stands out from the mass for its diversity of fruity flavours. These sweeten the coffee until it, like Brazilian coffee, loses its sweetness approximately after 1 year. Therefore, you should start right away. So, we have, as I build the bag, oh, I also need to shuffle these guys and reset that to 0. Let's go. Doop. 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 Okay, so, this is going to require 12 level zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... 10, 11, 12, 5 moisture, so we're going to start at 7, 5 hard beans, 3 defective beans, and 3 each of body, acidity, and aroma. So that's 3 there, and 3, for a total of 34 tokens in the bag. The interesting thing with this one is it requires a strength of 19, but it requires a flavor profile of 1 red, 2 green, so 1 body, 2 acidity, and the sweetness token. You actually need that. Thank you for coming along to support Billy. I really appreciate that. Sending virtual hellos and entertainment, I hope. Alright, so here we go. Final coffee of the day. At 10:13 at night. Ha! Alright, so 7 tokens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, it seems like a weird way of doing it. It's just easier than counting them out for me right now. Get rid of the moisture. Alright, what do we got? What do I want to do with that red one? Do I want to start off early? I need 19. This did me favours last time, so I'm actually going to go for that. I can spend blue as much as I want right now. I'm not going to do anything else, so defective bean back in the bag. Hard bean becomes a 0. 3 zeros become 1s. So there we go. They go in the bag. On to 8 tokens. 3 zeros became 1s, so we're at level 3. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, that's really not helpful. Moisture goes away. Yeah, that's really not helpful. I'm not doing anything with any of that. So the 0 becomes a 1, and the 2 hard beans become 0s. And all that goes in the bag, and my bag has gone up by 1. 9 tokens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, all the moisture this time. Moisture goes away. Nothing I can do, because I can't combine 2 beans, and I can't diffuse 2 beans. I am going to use the blue to take the 3, because 19 is quite a high target to hit. 4 zeros become 1s, the 1 becomes a 2, and we've gone up by 5. And this lot goes back in the bag. In go the 2 smokes. We're double roasting this round. And... Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, that's all the moisture out the bag. So that's not going to be gumming me up anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. But I'm still not getting much I can do. I need sweetness. I have to get sweetness. So I'm going to use a green, because I need to use a green. And I'm going to use the red. I'm just going to secure that right now. So that's one of my flavor profile already. We've only had flavor profiles that require 3 so far. This one requires 4. If you get all 4, you get 10 bonus points, which is quite huge. I think it's 10. Yes. And these guys are going back in the bag. These guys are becoming 0s, because hard beans do that. And 2 zeros become 2 2s, and the 1 becomes a 3. So these guys go into the bag, which means we just went up by 6 to 15. Remember, I need 19, and there were 34 tokens in this bag. Alright, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Perfect draw. Okay, so I can waste those, or not waste them, but I can use those blues as much as I want. Do I just take this guy? Because he did well for me in the first round. Well, no, actually, he didn't do anything for me in the first round, did he? But I think I am going to do it anyway. So I'm going to do the 2 blues here to get this guy and put him down here. I'm also going to put a 0 and a 1 in here to get the wild. And then I'm not going to do anything with these guys. I am going to have used one of the blues that I placed down here to break this 3 into a 1 and a 2. I haven't really used those guys yet to do anything, but in this case, I don't want to run the risk of double roasting next round, and I don't really want to waste one of my flavor tokens on the garbage if I can help it. You'll notice I put the 2 and the 1 straight into the bag. When you use these guys, the tokens involved do not get roasted, because I have used the diffusion technology completely separate from the oven, or whatever you roast coffee in. I note my complete lack of knowledge of how you deal with coffee. But they happen separately. So these 2 zeros become 2 1s, the 1 becomes a 2, and the 2 becomes a 3. Which means that lot is going into my bag, and we've gone up by 4. Now, the number, because I turned a 3 into a 1 and a 2, the strength didn't change at all, but there is now an extra token in my bag, so I've diluted my pool for when I come to cup test. We're going into this round. So 12. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oops. Oh, curses. That's a lot of smoke I could really do with getting rid of. Maybe I change my mind. I'm relying on the random flavor to come up now, but I think I'm going to use a green down here. And I'm going to ditch all 4 of those smokes and the defective bean. I'm not going to preserve anything because I want it all to go up. It's double roasting, so the 2 zeros become 2s, the 1 becomes a 3, and the 2 becomes a 4. So we've gone up by 8. so I'm on 27 now. And the red and the green go back in the bag. All right, I'm going to go one more round, I think, and then I'm going to cup test. Don't know if this is a good idea or not. We'll see. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no! 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, this sucks. I'm going to get a burn bean because I don't want to use that green, because if I use the green, I cannot, because the sweetness has to be in play, I cannot claim the sweetness as a green. So if I use this green, because there are already 2 here, there were only 3 in the bag and I need 2 of them, the wild flavor tile counts as that. I've used all my blues and I don't have a red. So unfortunately, I'm not getting to do anything. These guys go back in the bag. The green goes back in the bag. The 4 burns. So I now have a burn bean in the bag. The 0 becomes a 1. The 2 1s become 2 2s. I'm also going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 now to take that 4 off. The 4 2s become 4 3s. And the 3 becomes a 4. So there's 8 up. So I go from 23 to 31. And with that, I think I'm going to cup test. So I'm going for 19. I have 3 already, and I have sweetness, which means I have a point for the flavor profile. And I am going to get to toss 2 beans back in the bag at the end of the cup test, draw 3, and play 2 of them in place. So, here we go. That's a defective bean and is not going anywhere near my cup of coffee. That's a 3, so I'm up to 6. Going for 19. That's a burned bean and is also not going near my coffee. That's a 1, so I'm at 7. I'm at 10. 9 to go. That's not bad, actually. 0. I think there's another defective bean in there. So I'm going to do that. Still at 10. Green is okay. 13. Still not in the points yet. 15. Now I'm in the points. Come on, 4. I don't know if there's a 4 in here, but come on, number 4. 1. I'm actually going to put that here. 3. So I've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18 out of 19. That's going to be 7 points. I don't have any negatives, and I do have the ability to put 2 things back in the bag, draw 3, and play 2 of them. I'm going to mess myself up here, aren't I? I'm going to do the 3 and a 0. And dear God, hope I draw this well. Alright, my replacement 3 are... Bam! Ha! Ha ha! 4 and 0. And this guy just goes back in the bag. There we go. So, I have 4, 10, 11, 17, 19. That is 10 points. I have 2 of the 4 acquired flavor things, which I think is 3 points, if I remember correctly. Yep. So that takes me up to 13. Skill points-wise, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the same thing, which is an extra 2 points. So that's 15 points. And I have no negatives. So I have 15 points. So I got 15 points, 5 points, and 15 points. For a total of 35 all in at the end of my roasting challenge. 35 points makes me a mid-level roaster based on this chart. So you can be an apprentice for 19 or fewer, an assistant for 20 to 27, journeyman for 28 to 34. 35 is the very beginning level of mid-level roaster. Chief roaster from 40, best roaster in town from 47, top roaster from 53, and master roaster from 60. How the hell you get 60 points doing this, I don't know. But there we go. 35 points and 3 cups of coffee brewed. Well, 4 if you include my beginning. So there was my My challenge was these 4 cups of coffee, and that is Coffee Roaster. It's a beautiful little game. I love it. You can see that it's obviously taken a long time because I'm describing everything I'm doing, but you can see how quickly it plays. You can play a game of this in about 10 minutes if you do a single roast. So there we go. That is that. We've got a few comments in here. Oh, technical difficulties. I am sorry. I hope that they resolve themselves and you didn't miss too much. And I got the 4. Was there only one 4? Jen says there was only one 4 in the bag and I drew it. Is that actually... Wow, because I burned the other one. Oh, that was lucky. And now we have 3 cups of coffee at 10:25 at night and don't sleep a wink all night. You are correct. But there we go. That's Coffee Roaster. I really, really enjoy this game. I was desperate. I almost shelled out $90 to buy it because I was so excited by the concept. The Saashi and Saashi edition when it was being imported. I got this for, I don't know, 35, 40, something like that. Canadian, that is, for anyone watching from America. And I love it. I think it's fantastic. You've seen what it does in its totality. There are a total of 22, you can go by the numbers down here, 22 coffees that you can play of various difficulties. I dread to think what a level 3 roast expert difficulty coffee would be. Maybe I'll do one of those for a challenge somewhere down the line. But this is the game. I think it's kind of told you everything it needs to say, really. I don't feel the need to say much more. I think the game demonstrates itself very well. So I'm going to call it for this evening and say that I hope you enjoyed watching me roast some coffee beans. It's a really cool concept for a game too. It's a very unusual theme and I really, really like that. So, yay! With that, just a quick word about what I do. I mentioned this in the middle of the show as well, but I was originally doing a podcast called Once Upon a Die. I would love it if you would go and listen to that. I have about a dozen episodes online of the regular podcast, plus a few bonus ones, and I really, really enjoy doing that, and I'm going to get back to it once all of this stuff is done, because I look at having voice casts together to do voiceover recordings for some of the episodes and things like that, and that's really the core of what I want to do with the podcast, so I don't want to go too off-piste with some of the other stuff I do. Instead, while I'm not able to bring a voice cast together in one room, and I may look at doing this remotely, I'm not sure yet, but I do this. I do Twitch streaming. If you're watching this on Twitch right now, I would love it if you would go over to YouTube and look up Once Upon a Die on YouTube, or D.A. Xavier, and follow me over there. That would be fantastic. Subscribe to me. Equally, if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, or indeed if you're watching this on Twitch and you don't follow me already, please hit the follow button and follow me on Twitch as well. I do this. This is my Twitch streaming. My next stream is actually going to be tomorrow at 1 PM EST, and that's going to be the continuation, part 2 of my solo RPG playthrough of 1000-Year-Old Vampire, where we're playing a vampire originally named Walter, who is about 250 years old at this point and having quite an interesting life. So join me to continue his story then. You've seen my my Instagram and my Twitter handles scrolling along the bottom of the screen down there. Up in this corner, we have my link tree. I could really confuse myself and do this. That's a really weird feeling, because this camera over here is the right way up and this one's facing the wrong way and I'm mirrored. Anyway, my link tree up there has links to everything I do, my website, my Board Game Geek Guild, and to my Patreon, patreon.com/Once Upon a Die, if you would like to join the Once Upon a Die community. And tell your friends. Get people to follow me if they would be interested in solo gaming or a different way of looking at games they might have, things they can do to play more games while they're locked up inside. I would be very happy to know that I'm bringing some entertainment to people, but also teaching you something you maybe didn't know, or teaching you a way of looking at one of your games so that you can get more enjoyment out of it if you can't get your regular group together. That's it for tonight. I'm going to say have a very, very good evening. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching Coffee Roaster, and I may well see you tomorrow for 1000-Year-Old Vampire. And if not, I will see you soon. Stay safe, take care, and keep rolling those dice until the game is done. Good night.